speechless. And at a loss. But of course, part of it is because of my illness and my age. And I never make excuses, because when you're good and you know it, you don't make excuses. But I am old, and age has taken its toll. But I want to thank all of you for your kindness. And when something like this happens to me, I have to, it's a sad occasion, because the ones that really made all these things that you talk about with reference to me possible, they're all gone. Because it was really hard. But because they were so loyal, and all of it was without pay. It's unheard of. In fact, that was one of the biggest things we had to do, was to raise money to pay for the campaign expenses. And of course, we raised the money by selling chicken chitlin and barbecue dinners every Friday night at the home of Mrs. Marie Brown at 37th and Cedar. And that's because we used her yard to barbecue the barbecue, and they fried the chicken, and that's the way we earned the campaign expenses, because we didn't have any money. My husband and I mortgaged everything that we could get some money on, every campaign. And because remember, I had to run 3 times before I was elected, and that was back in 1945. And but that didn't bother me, because I knew I would be able to get the guy, because I worked harder than he did, that's all. And that's the truth. That's how simple it was. He was my friend. He was my friend. And Lawrence O'Kane was a councilman. And of course, they were all customers of my father, who was a printer. And he hadn't printed a newspaper that I put out, because none of the newspapers endorsed me. We had 3 then. And not only didn't endorse me, but they talked about me, which was all right, because my father printed my paper and I talked about it. I give anybody the right to have his or her opinion, because I want the right to have mine. Well, you can't have a right, and where it's available to everybody. And of course, that was always my theme. I was the best, because that's what my parents had told us. But I was born in the United States. I'm an American Negro. See, and it isn't to denigrate you that are Afro-Americans, or whatever you call yourself. I am an American Negro by the Constitution of the United States.
That's awesome.
If you're born in the United States, you're an American Negro. And so I didn't have to have anybody tell me, because my parents had told us, and they were the best. And so my father was the greatest man that I ever knew. And I would say that in front of my husbands, in front of everybody else. Then I would say, well, I had 2 husbands, and they were fine.